Hello and welcome to the Free Dominion Show. My name is Freeman Singirankabo, and thank you so very much for tuning in to our broadcast today. Those of you joining us live, especially if you're joining us live from the social media, welcome, 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 welcome. Be sure to share our program with your friends, families, and so on. And also, do not forget to subscribe and follow our channels. That way you may be able to know what we are up to, get to find out when we're having live programs like right now, so you can have an opportunity to join us live and have you saying in the programs that we have today, as we do Mondays through Friday. And we also want to let you know, all of you who constantly come and join us today or weekly from 12 to 1:30, that every time we have this particular program, given that it's a brand new program, we speak frankly with you, we speak boldly with you, and we speak without any apologies to the issues that we care the most about our lives or our lifestyles. And it is in this spirit that we will be sharing with you our hearts. And we come in the spirit of truth, love, and trust. And these are the benchmarks by which we would love for you to measure both the integrity and the validity of the content that we are going to be sharing with you today. And with that in mind, those of you, we are quite aware, we are quite sure that you still have yet to fully understand why we're here. What's up with this show? What is Free Dominion? What's with the show? Why does it matter to you? Why should it matter to you? And I believe that it would only be fair that we also just take a few moments to let you know what Free Dominion is. Because it's not just something that just fell out of, from the sky. It's something that has taken the time for us to actually conceptualize and to put it in place and then, make it happen. So what is Free Dominion? Free Dominion is an idea that inspires, advocates, and encourages a complete and total Africa take back, or Africa Dominion, by sons and daughters of Africa, African descendants, all in the interest of African people primarily, and then the rest of the world comes next. So what we are saying, we are seeking to inspire, advocate, and encourage all sons and daughters, all African descendants, to take charge of Africa, to take it all back. Full control, not just partial, the whole entire control of Africa. We want to take it back. It is ours to begin with, and we want to take it back. It has been stolen from us for many thousands of years, and now we want to take it back. And we'll make no apologies about it. And that's why we're coming in front of your face like that. So sons and daughters, you are kings and you are queens of your homeland. Regardless of where you are around the planet, that's who you are as a people. You are sons, daughters of Africa. You are kings and queens of Africa. You are kings and queens of your homeland. So this show, Free Dominion, it is essentially going to be advocating as well. It is going to have inspiration, conversation, advocation. We are going to advocate. And we are going to encourage each and every one of you who so chose. And even those of you who still don't know that that's who you are. We want you to come out of your holes that you've been hiding in. We want you to come out. Take back charge of your own lives. Take back charge of your own communities. Take back charge of your daily ups, daily living condition, daily operation, daily management of your resources. And what better ways to do it than with your brothers and sisters all over? Get to know them. Give them an opportunity to get to know you. So that's what you can expect here at Free Dominion Show. We inspire, we advocate, and we encourage a complete take back of Africa Dominion, one country at a time, by sons, daughters, and African descendants, all in the interest of African people primarily, and then the rest of the world afterwards. So pretty much the same thing as the idea, except that as a program that airs, that gets to be broadcasted, that gets to be distributed all over, be it social media, radio station, or television. That's what we're at about. So if you want to be a part of this, if you feel like you are part of that, even though you should be, same way you breathe air, it's a part of you every single day. You don't have to wonder whether today there will be air. You just breathe. So dominion, it's a part of who you are as a people. It is in our blood, despite your living status at the moment. You gotta wake it up. You gotta wake it up. You've got to wake it up. So that's what you can expect from Afri Dominion show, and we assure you, we are going to speak frankly with you guys, without beating around the bushes about nothing. Because doing so perpetuates the status quo. It continues the status quo. It gives energy, power to the status quo, and we are not buying into the status quo. That's truthfully speaking to you guys. So, and because we also are aware that such idea, the program itself, it's so huge, we've decided to break it into pieces or themes. So Mondays through Fridays, we have five different themes that we discuss, or that we get to channel our conversation in, our programs in, our issues in. We talk about it, and then we get to do some implementation behind the scenes. And we would love for you to be a part of it. So on Mondays, we talk about eradication of refugees and stateless persons' condition. Specifically, African refugees and African stateless persons wandering all across the globe, even within Africa itself. We want to be able to have a hand in solving this situation of refugees ourselves, because we've never done it before us as an actual goal. We've never done it by ourselves. On Tuesday, we talk about the Constitution, law and policy review and implementation. Every single country on planet Earth has Constitution wrapped around it. But the Constitution, is it for the people and by the people, or is just a document that's drafted by a small group of people and then it's given to the masses to follow? But that Constitution may or may not necessarily be looking after the interests of the people. So we are openly reading through every line of the Constitution of your country, and looking at the lifestyle you have, looking at your values, the things that you care about as a people. Is it what the Constitution demonstrates? Is it what the Constitution also upholds? Is it what it's protecting? Are they, do you have the same promises in the Constitution as the values that you're living with? We want you to be able to have a saying in that. Laws and policies. Plenty of laws and policies. Whose interest are these laws and policies looking after? Is it yours as a people, or those very small group of people? And we want to make sure that it's you primarily, the people, and everybody else comes last. Wednesdays, we talk about our testimony, history telling and writing. As Africans, we have a rich history, but we know not our history. We have no idea what our history is. And day after day, day after day, day after day, we tend to lose more and more and more nuances about our history. Why? Because we do not have that as one of the primary things that we actually uphold, that we protect. How can you know where you're going if you don't know where you just came from? So on Wednesdays, you get a chance to now be in the driving seat of your own history. You write your own history. You tell your own testimony. You weigh without anyone telling you, like, no, we would rather you doing it that way or this way. Your history is your history. We want to be able to start preserving our own history. The same way you see the Quran, the same way you see the Bible, the same way you see few literatures that have been preserved for thousands and thousands of years. So we want your history to be a part of who you are as a person, as a community, as a nation. On Thursdays we talk about the spirit of dominion. What is dominion? We were just talking about it a few minutes ago. The rulership, the governorship, the mastery of yourself, of your resources. You cannot dominate something you don't understand. And dominate doesn't mean choking the life out of it. No. That's why we've got to be able to take all that back. It is within you. You can never have a mandate without the means of carrying out the mandate. You're just not a king and a queen because it feels good or it sounds good. It's not just a word. It's a function. Kings and queens dominate. Hence, you being a king and a queen. You have the ability to dominate everything on earth. From the birds of the air, the fish of the sea, every single animal on planet Earth, the natural resources within. That is all yours and mine to dominate. So take charge. How can you dominate something you've never been introduced to, something you don't know? It will be crazy. So just because you're not aware of it, it doesn't mean that it's not within you. So wake it up. On Thursdays, we get to do that. We get to awaken that lion deep inside of you. We get to awaken who you are. The true you gets to be awakened on Thursdays. On Friday, we talk about current events and the impact it's having on African people. On Africa and African people, I should say. By the way, English is not my first language, so if you hear me flip-flopping here and there, just get on with it. I speak Kinyarwanda natively. The rest of the languages, I just meet him. I meet him wherever I go. Even Kinyarwanda, because I don't get an opportunity to speak it as often, there are some words that I can no longer use because either I have forgotten them or I haven't had the right opportunity to use them. So the language, the culture. You take on someone else's language, you become that language. You take on someone else's culture, you become that. And guess what? The Constitution drives the culture, including the language. This is a legal agreement, a legal document between the people themselves and those that they have chosen to govern them, to lead them. That's why every single government on planet Earth has it. Even you as kings and queens, you have those. So with that in mind, I want to give you all a huge welcome. But also, it would be a remiss if I didn't say, please, 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 please. We would love to hear from you. Give us some feedbacks on this program, as brand new as it is, and as challenging as it is, as bold as it is, as truthful as it is. We want to hear what you have to say. So be sure to visit our website, www.afreedominion.com, to get all of our programs, know what we are up to, and so on. Be sure to also subscribe to our group. It's a private group. Come in and meet other kings and queens. Let's discuss some of these issues. We speak openly, but there are some nuances we just don't talk about publicly. We want you to come and be a part of those now private action plans, those things we do behind the scenes. We want you to be a part of it, because we just can't air everything we get ready to do publicly. That would just be absurd. Be sure to also reach out to us. We have our main email, which is info@afreedominion.com. When you go to the website, you will find our telephone numbers. There are quite some information that I believe you can use to connect with us, and we would love to hear from you guys. So with that in mind, I want to get on with the with our program today. And as you know, it is Mondays. It is Monday today, so we essentially are going to talk about our theme: eradication of refugees and stateless persons condition. We're talking about our brothers and sisters. However, our focus today, we want to talk about, can we end refugee and stateless person conditions using the current system in place, or the current systems in place. And I am so serious when I talk about this, guys. I am genuinely serious, and I want you to answer. Again, the huge primary focus is you young people. Of course, you as our parents, you've lived this whole entire life. We have yet to see what you're doing about it. But us now, as your sons and daughters, here we are. And we want to also take a bite out of the situation as it is. But this time around, we don't just want to talk. We also want to put it into action. So, can we end refugee and stateless person conditions of our African people throughout the world using the current systems in place? What are those systems in place? That's a question that I want you to be able to just wrap around with. Can you get out of your situation without understanding how you got in it to begin with? Things are happening, but how are they happening? What is the root cause of the situation that we are in as African people? Why is it that you are a refugee for 60 years, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10? Why are you just leaving your own homeland? What is the root cause of you becoming a refugee? Just think about, you have inheritance somewhere in Africa, and all of a sudden your whole life is being flipped. It's being flipped upside down. You were minding your own business, or whatever it is you were into. Either your action or the lack of action led you to becoming a refugee. What is a refugee? And what is a stateless person? In my own little understanding, a refugee is a person who has lost his permanent resident, his or her own homeland, the place you call home, the place that you get no favors to be, to stay, to do whatever it is you feel like doing. When you lose that place and you run away from it and you become a homeless on the street, you become a burden to a community that you have no knowledge of. You become a burden to another country. You have become a refugee. Even in your own country, sometimes you may become an internally displaced refugee, which means you have actually abandoned your own home, your land, the land of your parents, of your grandparents, of your ancestors. You have abandoned it for whatever reason. That's a refugee. A stateless person, not only it could be a refugee, but usually a refugee, at least you document yourself, you identify yourself, you declare yourself that you are homeless and you need help. A stateless person is those, or it's that person, that individual, who not only is a refugee, meaning you have abandoned your homeland, your ways of life, you've abandoned it, but also you are hiding. There is no single documentation that can tell us that you are somebody. And that's how you want it sometimes, and other times you are forced to live like that, like a stateless person. Today we have countries that will not give you a refugee status purposely, because they can say either your homeland is okay, go back home. You are fleeing nothing. You know, there is no reason why you should be a stateless person. And there are those others who are being chased to death by other vicious individuals or groups going after you. It can be a government institution, it could be a private corporation, it could be a group of people following you, wanting to terminate you, to terminate your life, to terminate your family. This is happening every single day. So we as Africans, we have become stateless person on the continent of Africa. Even outside of Africa, we do have a number of stateless persons. And these people, they have had a rough life, that for them to believe another human being, it is almost like killing them. Imagine, from being taken out of your own families, out of your own communities, out of your country, to embracing a tragic life, the most vicious life, a merciless life, full of tragic, full of pain, full of everything horrible that you can imagine. And you live with that for a year, 2 years, 10 years, 20, 30, 40, 50, until you become an old person. Why, oh, why, oh, why? So, I started thinking and I started looking, and I was like, can we actually seriously end this refugee issue and being a stateless person using the same systems that we have today? What am I saying? The same system responsible for you becoming a refugee, it is the same system that you actually going back at it and you say, can you please help me so I can stop being a refugee? They say insane person or insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting different results. Guys, let me ask Google, actually. Maybe some of you know, but I'll ask Google just to be sure, or Wiki. How long has the United Nations been in existence? So, the United Nations officially came into existence on 24th October 1945, upon ratification of charter by 5 permanent members of the Security Council: the United States, the United Kingdom, France, the Soviet Union, and the Republic of China. So, in other words, since 1945, so from 1945 to 2022, how many years is that? I believe 72, right? So for 72 years, these big boys, these 5 big boys they have created a club called the United Nations. They run it and they determine the fate of every single human being on planet Earth, including yours and mine. How often do they actually check in to see whether what they are attempting to uphold, to manage, to protect is actually in your best interest as a people? I'm curious to know. How do you give your entire power to a group of 5 who know nothing about you, your ways of life, and you say, hey, go ahead and take charge? Actually, let me put it this way. I stand corrected. They know a whole lot about you. They've taken upon themselves to study you, to study your family, or your families, your communities, even your country, and your countries, I should say. That they've decided, hey, let's take over. Let's take the whole entire planet. I want to understand, how did this happen? That the United States, France, United Kingdom, Soviet Union, and China get to decide the fate of everybody? Now, the systems that they have put in place are the same system responsible for taking you out of your home, out of your own homeland. And these are the same system. We in turn go back and say, go tell the United Nations to stop the Kagames, to stop the Musevenis, to stop the such and such and such and such. These are the systems that have put them there. And yet, we in turn still come back to them and make demands of them. What was the purpose of the United Nations? I wonder if you young people know the purpose of the United Nations. So the purpose of the United Nations, it was to maintain international peace and security, develop friendly nations among nations, achieve international cooperation, and be the center of harmonizing the action of nations. I'm reading this straight from the Wikipedia, so this is not my own thing. So international peace, if you are responsible to maintain international peace, when was the last time you felt peace? Africans, when was the last time you had peace in your own homeland? When was the last time that Rwanda had peace? When was the last time that Democratic Republic of the Congo had peace? When was the last time Burundi had peace? When was the last time Tanzania had peace? When was the last time Uganda had peace? When was the last time Kenya had peace? When was the last time Ethiopia had peace? Eritrea had peace? Djibouti had peace? Should I keep on going? When was the last time Mozambique had peace? Malawi had peace? Angola had peace? Zimbabwe had peace? I mean, the whole entire Africa is super messed up. And who's the responsible party according to the United Nations? The big five boys or girls, I don't know. United States, United Kingdom, France, Soviet Union, and China. How is a little teeny country as France become the responsible party of Africa? I mean, seriously speaking, guys, either we've been given something in our head, some drugs, that we find this okay. For thousands of years, actually, I stand corrected, it hasn't been for thousands of years, but it has been for hundreds of years that Africa has been actually maneuvered to arrive where it is today. And we had so much hand in it. And that's why we also have the power and the capacity to reverse that. Now, when we talk about this openly, oftentimes we get people who say, these kids must be really wishing to die. Do they think that the United States is going to stand by and let them have it like that? Do they actually believe that France is going to let them have it like that? Do they actually believe the United Kingdom is going to let them have it like that? Do they actually believe that the Soviet Union will actually let it be without a fight? Do you actually think that China will just allow you to have you kumbayas just like that? Guys, I submit to you, all these nations that we are mentioning, the United States, it's only 246 years. It rebranded itself. The United Kingdom, it's a bit older. France, it's a bit older. France, it's a rebranded kingdom of the Romans. United Kingdom, it's a rebranded kingdom of the Romans. China was an empire. It's a rebranded leadership of an old empire. And so is the Soviet Union. These are all kingdoms that have been rebranded as republicans. These are all kingdoms, listen to me, young people, that have been rebranded as republicans. Now, that's why you own history as a people, as African people. It's imperative to know, how was Africa before the United States was a rebranded nation? How was Africa before the United Kingdom was a rebranded nation? How was France? Or how was Africa before France was a rebranded nation? How was Africa and the African Empire before the Soviet Union became a rebranded nation? How was Africa empire or empires before China was a rebranded nation? Guys, we have a very horrible history, warfare throughout thousands of years. But we also have successes, plenty of successes. Now, I suppose even though during those times there were refugees, but I just don't know whether they would run thousands and thousands of miles away from their own homeland. I will submit that it's a hell no. Because the means of transportation, you moving your whole entire nation to another homeland, I believe that it was a bit more complicated, logistics wise, but also we had honorable people back in those days who would actually give the blood to their own homeland instead of giving it to the dogs. That's one thing we're lacking today. We lack bold people. So today's refugee situation and stateless person, it has a very root cause from these big five people. The management of these big five people constantly shows itself in the lifestyles of you brothers and sisters, you Africans, and the rest of the world. But I just so happen to talk about my brothers and sisters. This is no discrimination whatsoever. So now that we know the big five have taken it upon themselves to be responsible for your peace, are you peaceful at home? Are you peaceful in your village? Are you peaceful in your nations? And I submit that it's a no. So since 1945, wars have been, plenty of wars have been caused by these big five people. Caused by these big five people. I'm calling them people for the sake of us being able to just manage them. The United States, France, United Kingdom, Soviet Union, and China, the biggest manufacturer of weapons on planet Earth. How can you not expect the refugee status to maintain as it is if these big five people are the one giving you free weapons in your own homeland? Free weapons. Pay as little as possible in thousands of years to come. This is what I was saying the other day, that this is a modern slavery. Leadership slavery, economic slavery, social slavery. They form an organization and then they impose all nations to be a part of it, and they get to babysit everybody. And all of us, we say, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. We have zero opinion about what they do. And I'm wondering, all of you know that this is what's happening, and all of you has a kumbaya response to it. And as saying that we are inspiring, advocating, and encouraging a complete, total Africa dominion by its sons, daughters, and African descendants. You can imagine this is in direct conflict with what the United Nations is doing. The United Nations is who? The United States, the United Kingdom, France, Soviet Union, and China. Despite the little fights that they may have among themselves, they are still in charge of the planet Earth, of the entire planet. They are responsible for refugee problems. They are responsible for warfare. They are responsible for a whole lot of things. But when you look at the size of these guys and you compare it to Africa, they are no match. However, they have a spirit of controlling. They have a spirit of wanting to take charge. Because that's the spirit you used to have. But they have taken it away from you. Can we talk? Real talk again? It's important, it's imperative that you realize, young people, nothing on planet Earth can happen to you without you giving it the blessings. You as kings and queens, you speak life out of your own mouth. It is who you are. You may not know it, but every time I open my mouth, whatever that comes out of it, it has life. Not only it has life, but it's a law. It's as strong as a rock, even stronger than a rock. So if I stand by and do nothing, while the United States, France, United Kingdom, Soviet Union, and China decide like, hey, how can we maximize our profit this year, 2022? And let's go make a few havoc in Africa. Let's go to Ethiopia. Let's see if we can just, switch things around. Let's go in the DRC, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Let's go in Mozambique. They have a few natural resources. They have some crude oil there. Let's go do something. Let's make sure that we keep it up. We keep stirring up the pot our ways so we can be able to actually keep the management of the entire Africa and the rest of the world. Young people, do you not see what's happening here? These wars are not accidental wars. They are perpetuated by the United States, United Kingdom, France, Soviet Union, and China. Just get on with it. Look at it. Last week we were talking about the control. I think it was on Thursdays when we were talking about leadership. These five nations are literally in Africa, in every part of Africa. They've been there for years and years and years. They have done despicable things from there. They have done despicable things. And now one single one of these countries has yet faced a trial, faced a court date, because they're the babysitter. How can you put a trial or set up a trial on your babysitter when he or she says, I'm in charge? You can't. So those of you who are dreaming of asking the United Nations to stop abuse, to stop rapes in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, to stop rapes in Rwanda, to stop rapes amongst your own people, they are not going to do it because it's not what they stand for. Even though that beautiful piece of paper says that they are looking after peace, or they are voting, they want to bring the peace in your own homeland. I submit to you that they care not about your own interest, because if they did, they will not be selling you weapons before they actually give you the knowledge of who you are as a people. They give it back to you. They've studied you. They've studied your ancestors. They've studied who you are, who we are as a people. And they're using that primarily for their own interest. Frankly speaking, again, I keep on telling you guys, in this 2022, only the bold, only the brave, you are going to have to do the things you've never done before. in order for you to take back charge of Africa, to take back dominion of your own homeland. And we've started the journey. The beautiful part of it, there's a part of you that can never be conquered, and that's your spirit. You may conquer this body, but you can never conquer my spirit. And your spirit is larger than this body. And you need to wake up your spirit. The minute you wake your spirit up and you allow it to take charge of your own body, and you give it back its management of your homeland, of your resources, everything else is going to fall back in the correct pieces. It's like a memory recall. You need not go to Berkeley. You need not go to Cambridge. You need not go to MIT to regain your knowledge back. Your spirit has covered it because you don't need it right now. You're not using it right now. You haven't been curious of the kind of knowledge that you have within you. And every time any one of you by accident opens up in the wrong way and you fall in the wrong hands, you become a state property of the Big Five. Some of you may think that this is a conspiracy, but I submit to you, study who you are as a people. Study who you are. So, what am I saying right now? Every single African refugee or refugees, every single one of you, wherever it is that you are, I would love for you to make sure you go to our website, link up with us, because we have work to do. If you're a stateless person and you still want to do something about your own situation, link up with us. If you have a nonprofit and you truly care about eradicating the refugee crisis of African people, the stateless status of African people, link up with us. In this 2022 year, we want to start taking charge of our own lives, our own ways, without having to get any permission. We're not seeking no permission from the United Nations. The United Nations, it's an organization. We are a kingdom as sons and daughters. An organization should never dictate a kingdom. Should never dictate a kingdom. They are two different things. But because you've given your power, you've given them your power to dictate you what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and who has to do it. You have also forfeited your own power. Do not forfeit your destiny. You have but a very given time space to perform the duties by which you have been brought to this earth. Failure to do that is also failure of your destination and your destiny. It is unfortunate that our forefathers, our ancestors, most of them, they have forfeited their purpose in life. They have given their dominion. They've given it away. They've sold it. Others never were able to fight for it. So young people, I am asking you to recall who you are. What is your purpose right now on this planet Earth? What is your purpose at home? Is it to come on Facebook, on these social medias? Is it to just eat, drink, go to bed, and do it again? I submit to you that that's not the whole entire truth. That's not the lifestyle you should be living or you're designed to live as kings and queens. There's more to that. There's more that we should be doing, that we ought to be doing, that we are going to be doing. So my message to you all, Africans, and African descendants. Doesn't matter whether you're looking white, black, or whatever. If you know that you are an African son and daughter, if you're a son or daughter or an African descendant, this is your message as well. Take back your own responsibility, or your responsibilities, I should say. Take it all back. You need no permission from the United Nations. You, as refugees, take back control of your own homeland. Why are you a refugee for 60 years? You're being given a cup of oatmeal, if you're lucky, a cup of corn, a cup of water. Someone is determining how you live your day, just like a cattle. You got this little space that they have given you, a little shelter, and you left a mansion, you left a land, a fertile land, and you've decided to live in a desert, somewhere you should never be living, where your wife get raped, your son get raped, your daughter gets raped. You may get raped. Your whole life living like an animal. All because you've given the trust to the big five. And all because you've given your whole entire being, your powers, to someone else who has zero interest in who you are. This has to stop, and you've got to be the one taking it all back. When I see my brothers and sisters in Rwanda running around the globe, I mean, they crying for their own families. They crying out to the United Nations to please help them, please help us, please help us. And the United Nations was in Rwanda before 1994, during 1994, and they haven't done anything. And these are the experts. Since 1945, you would imagine that these guys would have their acts together, especially when it comes to maintaining peace. When, truthfully speaking, they are causing wars in our homelands. So how can you trust in the very institution that actually started the problem? It's laughable that today a whole lot of our families, a whole lot of our brothers and sisters, they run to the United Nations for solutions that the United Nations has caused. It is true. They can actually solve it because they are the source of the problem. But do they want to actually do that? Is it in their best interest that they solve your situation? And I submit to you that it is not in their best interest that they end the refugee status of African people, that they end the stateless conditions of African people. If you start becoming a refugee, you free your mind to going back in a position where you can think about you tomorrow, where you can actually think about the gifts from within you, where you can start taking back of your own life, where you can stop worrying. If they do that, they will not be able to control you. They will not be able to agree with you with how you're going to manage your homeland. They will not be able to sell you weapons. They will not be able to convince you that you must live in a little hut and let them control your homeland. You must go live in the desert while you have a fruitful land on the other side. I mean, this is like, my God, it's almost like a magician selling you the best of the best magic in your dreams. And you're so happy, but in reality, you're being pimped day after day, day after day, day after day. This is not funny. It isn't funny when you see a family that lives as a refugee family for 60 years, 50 years, 40 years, 30 years, 20 years, 10. And those of you who are just leaving your own homeland right now, because you'd rather be a refugee than staying in your homeland and fight for your homeland. It's a problem. We are tired of being refugees. We are tired of being told what to do by the people who have zero interest in our well-being. Hence, you having to take back of your own life. Take charge of your own lives. What has the United Nations Commission of Refugees been doing since 1945? It's not a money problem. It's a will problem. So I want to ask you, young people, do you have the will? Do you have the will to end the refugee and the stateless person condition of your own brothers and sisters and your families? Do you actually have the will to end it? If the answer is yes, come and join forces with us. But if it's not in you, keep on living the life you're living. The choices are pretty simple. In each and every one of us, we have a last word on which choice to take. You can never get out of the problem that you are in without carefully examining it, understanding it, and having an action plan behind so that you can be able to get out of your problem. If you don't understand how you got in it to begin with, you will not be able to understand how you're going to get out of it. So the choices are pretty clear and pretty simple. It isn't going to be the United States, guys. It isn't going to be the United Kingdom. It certainly isn't going to be France, nor Soviet Union, nor China. It's going to be you, your families, your communities. And it all starts with the decision that you make today. Plan your life. Have priorities in your life. What are you living for in 2022? How do you have your 2022 designed? If you don't know what you're doing in 2022, I submit to you that someone else already have a plan of what you are going to be doing in 2022. So whose plan do you want? Someone else that you don't know, or your own plan? Even if you suck at it, that's besides the point. Bottom line, take back charge of your own life, however little that you do it. Take back the discipline of your own life. Take back the responsibilities of your own life and your families. Take back the accountability of your life and your families. Then we can actually talk about action plan behind it, or action plans behind it. I told you, this is not a sexy conversation. This is not one of them talk shows where you just come and feel good. We actually want to have solutions, guys. We're tired of seeing our brothers and sisters killed like cockroaches in your kitchen. We are tired of seeing our sisters, our mothers being raped openly. And the United Nations ask you, if you had a role in it, were you wearing a mini? And you may have caused them to rape you. We're tired of that. But until you're actually sick and tired of it, you won't stop it. How can you expect the Kagame regime the the Rwandan refugee problem, when Kagame himself is a part of the problem, or when the government itself is a part of the issue. It's a source of the problem. How can you expect them to be able to actually, in good faith, end it? How can you expect someone who says, I never had a chance to kill them all publicly? That's the president of Rwanda, boldly saying that I just didn't have an opportunity to finish them off. And he still comes on the same table with the United States, with UK, with France, with Soviet Union and China on the same table. What does it say about those 5 guys? Think about it, young people. The very people you've given the responsibility to govern you, to manage your personal resources, your family resources, your community resources, are the same people brutalizing everything, killing your own people, responsible for selling out your own nations, your own villages, your own families, your own communities. So whose joke is it a joke on you or a joke on us? But then who's to blame? Can you actually take the responsibility of all of that before you gave it to the big 5? The big 5 are just grabbing, exercising muscle. But I submit to you, they have 2 arms, they have 2 eyes, 1 nose and 1 mouth, 2 legs. We have the same thing. Why is it that we cannot look after our own interest the same way we used to before they were even in existence? That's the question that I ask myself every single day. And I've come to terms that it is me who has to change, not them. They don't need to change. I have to change. You have to change. Do you have the will to abandon the status quo and get back in the jungle? Find your own ways within the jungle. Create order in your own kingdoms the way it's already built within you. Awaken the masterpiece, awaken the blueprint of management of the African resources and the planet resources. It's in you. It's been in you. But you've been so asleep that you don't even know you've got the solution inside of you. So young people, this is all I got. And I am telling you, you got to wake it up. You as a refugee, you got to end being a refugee. It is you. It starts with you. You have to desire to want to end it. You who claims to be a stateless person, despite all the horrific things that you've gone through, all the horrible experiences that you had to relive plenty of times, as long as you still are breathing, as long as you are still breathing, I repeat, you can turn the tables around. The question is, do you want to? Or you want me to do it for you? Or you want the big 5 to come and do it for you? Or you want someone else to come in and grab your bucket and go do your own work? So, humbly speaking and humbly, I am humbly asking you young people, especially those of you who can actually understand English, stop what you're doing if you haven't already done so. Take inventory of what you got going on. Today, I believe we have how many days? Let me look. Today is the 17th. Today we have 348 days before this year is over. Do you have a plan of what you need to be doing in these 348 days as far as it relates to eradicating this refugee problem that we have. Do you have a plan? Whatever country that you come from, whatever situation you're in, including you who is a refugee, including you who is a stateless person, do you have a plan of how you want to get out of it? You personally, do you have a plan? If you do not have a plan and you spend the whole last year in a tent collecting some food, whichever time that they give you food, and you haven't done anything else except stressing, take it upon yourself. Find some time and decide, what do you want to see in these 348 days remaining? How do you want to rectify your own issue? How do you want to be a part of the solution of the problem you have as a refugee, as a stateless person? If you don't have a clue, please take a week. Interrupt the programs that is distracting you, or programs that are distracting you. Take some time and go search from within you. What do you want? What do you need? How can you end your own situation? Have some insights of how you want to do it. See what you need to be doing. Then come and find us out. Come and seek help. Come and ask for help. Come and knock. Someone is going to come and help you out. But until you get the courage to do that yourself, you are going to stay a refugee for life. You are going to remain a stateless person. Because the big five aren't interested in ending refugee situations. They aren't interested in ending you being a stateless person. I submit to you. So in closing, I want to bring an attention to you all. Rwanda has had what you have labored as a genocide, Rwandan genocide, and then you've labored it as a Tutsi genocide, and then you've labored it as a Hutu genocide. There's so many names that we've given it. The Democratic Republic of the Congo, 12 million people have died. And up until now, the big five have yet to set up a court where justice can be rendered to those 12 plus million people. We lost about between 600 to 800,000 people in Rwanda, and they were quick to name it a genocide. The Democratic Republic of the Congo has lost more than 12 million people, and everybody, it's still silent. The big five have been in the Democratic Republic of the Congo for as long as you can imagine. They are fully aware of the problems in the Democratic Republic of the Congo because they are the source of the problems. Can you, in good faith, expect them to bring you solutions to ending refugee problems that you have and stateless persons conditions that you have? I can go on and on and on and on each and every single country in Africa. If you scrutinize the situation and find a common denominator, the big fives are going to be there. The big five are always there. Weapons of mass destructions, they don't just come from the sky and fall in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Weapons of mass destructions do not fall from the sky in Rwanda. They are brought there by the big five themselves. So how is it that we don't talk about that? Where is that moral compass that everybody's afraid of? Can we be real? Can we speak the truth and nothing but the truth? Can you handle the truth as it is? So young people, we have a responsibility. And this responsibility that we all share, most of it, we are going to have to do it together if we are going to succeed. But there are a huge chunk of it that you're going to have to do alone. And that is changing your thinking. Completely changing your thinking. Regaining your identity, your true identity. You may be a refugee, but you are a king refugee in someone else's land, and you've abandoned your own land. You are a queen refugee somewhere around the planet, and you have abandoned your own kingdom. And now you're bringing offspring in the refugee camp, and you're denying them the knowledge of who they are, because they see a different environment than the environment that they should be in. You are to blame primarily, because the big five, they simply just decided to get together and make it, and maintain what they see as a primary interest. So it's about time that we get back together as families. It's about time that we fully understand what it is that we're fighting for. It's about time that you regain your self-discipline, your self-governance. It's about time you as a refugee, you say no to your own situation. Put it in your head. Change your thinking. Change your thinking. Doesn't matter whether you haven't eaten anything, whether you're still in that situation. Change your thinking. The minute you change your thinking, you take away the permission, you take away the power that the Big Five has had for so long. And that's essentially what I'm asking you guys. Take back charge. Say no to being a refugee. Say no to being a stateless person. Even if they bring in an atomic bomb today and put it right in front of us. Remember that it is being utilized as a fear-producing tool to keep you astray. Understand the mechanism, understand the tools being utilized for you to remain in the conditions that you are in today. A logical person cannot stay in refugee camp for 60 years. A logical person cannot run around the planet fearful for thousands and thousands of hours, days. We got to get rid of that fear. We have to uproot the fear. We've got to get rid of the fear. Fear drives a lot of things. Fear. We've got to get rid of that. If you get rid of fear, then you are actually on track of getting rid of so many other things as well. There is a root cause, and there are plenty of consequences. Stop patching these consequences. If you specialize in consequences fixing, if every project that you're doing, it's a fixer of a consequence, you're just taking care of one consequence. Tomorrow there will be another, and then the next day, and so on. So young people, again, what are you doing in these 348 days? The purpose of the United Nations is to legitimize the superpower countries' domination and doing business through conflicts and interminable wars. I ask you, my brother, what are you going to do about it? Can you imagine what should be the reason of United Nations existence without wars and conflicts? So someone must do the dirty work. Why should we actually focus on the dirty work? Why can we not do something different? We see the problems, but can we also spend some time and actually see the solutions? I can't answer myself, buddy, if I'm online. We have to stand up and reject these institutions which don't represent us. I am with Amahoro. Essentially, that's what we gotta do, guys. If you're being if you are being oppressed, and you know you're being oppressed, and the oppressor is the one you're asking, stop oppressing me. Are you mad? Are you seriously mad? Again, go scrutinize the situation as it is. Whatever country that you're in, look at your country. Look at the wars that you have. Look at where your governments are getting the weapons from, the trainings from. Do you even know that they're purchasing those weapons? You don't know none of it. And these weapons are in turn used against you. And you still believe and you still think that these governments, most of them, that are actually looking after your best interest. There is a need, guys, to literally review all the agreements that you have with your governments, one by one, including the classified ones. No government on planet Earth should be stronger, bigger than the people it works for or it represents. No single government should be bigger than the people who put it there. If a government becomes bigger than you as a people, then it's no longer a representation. Think about it. If a government is bigger than you as a people and it tells you what to do, and it takes away your free will, what kind of government is that? Especially if you claim to be the one who put that government in place. So, be it United Nations or whatever organization that's currently representing your country, your villages, your people, you need to re-examine the interest that you have given it to look after and the interest that it has served for these past 72 years. Now look at the countries that you have in collaboration with or that you're cooperating with right now. Whose interest are they looking for? Is it you as a people or their own interest? Look at the officials that you have in your governments. How did they end up there? Do you know the circumstances by which they are there? If you do not know those circumstances, wake up and smell the coffee. The issues that we have, brothers and sisters, are pretty straightforward in front of us. They're blatantly in front of you, but you are too afraid to do something about them. You are too scared to lose your own lives by doing the right thing. Yet, you could still lose your life tomorrow sleeping. Why can't you decide how you're going to finish up your life? Decide how you're going to spend the time that you have. Decide how you're going to share the gifts that you have within you. Be responsible for your own lives. Be accountable for your own lives. Be truthful to your own lives. Genuinely love your brothers and sisters. And let's restore the trust. So this is all I gotta say to you all. And I am asking you again. We have 348 days remaining. What have you planned for it as a refugee? What have you planned as a stateless person? What are you doing? What are you going to do? If you do not have a plan, and you still come on social media, and you still listen to the radio, and you still come on television, and you listen to the same thing, to the same shows, but you do nothing after the hour, you're cheating yourself. And there is nothing I would do to actually convince you until it gets in your head that it's in your best interest first, before it becomes my own interest. If it's not a shared ideal, if it is not a shared responsibility that we both are ready to carry on with, we still have a long way to go. Some of us, only some of us. So, we have to review these laws. If you still allow the big five to come in your countries unchecked, run business unchecked, conduct any kind of experiment unchecked, shame on you. Because I submit to you, you would not be able to come in this country, in the big five, and do business unchecked. Do whatever it is you feel like doing unchecked. So why is it that you're too stupid, apologies, to let them do the same thing in your own homeland with your own people? Guys, there's no other ways to say it. You gotta face the demons, face the fear, take back charge of your own homeland and in your own lives. So that's all I gotta say to you all, guys. I know I speak passionately about this because I mean it. Because I really, 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 truly mean it. And I am asking you to come and do what you have to do as a people. It is only you and only you who have to take the first step. Everybody else come last. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is all I got. And I'm open to reading a little bit of your comments before I leave. I only have a few minutes left with you. And I just want to let you know that we are in a tough situation. We are in an exciting season, but it's also tough at the same time. Now I remember one thing that I forgot to actually just run by you guys. Can you imagine the same effort, the same energy, the same zeal that's being put into COVID-19 globally? If we take the same energy and actually inject it into this refugee situation, stateless person conditions, would we be still talking about refugee today? If we actually target the root cause, not patching issues globally, and I submit to you that it will be over. If you lock down your villages, if you lock down your region, if you lock down your countries for the sake of resolving a refugee problem and stateless person conditions, how long would it take all of us to take care of the situation permanently? It still comes down to the willpower. Are you willing to do something about that? And are you willing to get your hands dirty to do it? Or you just want to get on and put on a suit and look good and just go tell someone to go and do your work? We participate in some of the most crazy projects globally that we have no knowledge of. And the projects that are more essential to you, you don't even think about them. You do not even get close to them. Have you ever wondered how is it that they worry so much about COVID-19, but they do not worry about AIDS? They worry so much about COVID-19, but they don't care about no refugee. They worry so much about COVID-19 that you as a stateless person, you are invisible. They worry so much about COVID-19. They will never encourage you to have a better leadership, to better manage the same issues that they want to take care of for you. So whose joke is it? And whose joke is it on? Quite frankly, jokes is on us as a people. The joke is on you. And I'm no longer joking. I don't want I do not want to have a part of any jokes that's being played upon us. That's been tested up, on us as a people. Enough with the jokes. And if you don't see that you're being a part of the game, and you yourself are actually volunteering to play the game, something's wrong with you. The same player and the referee are coming from those in charge, the big fives. They provide the players and the referee. They fix the game the way it needs to be fixed, the way they see fit. And you go along with it. For as long as they say, we can do this. Enough with the game, guys. Stop playing the game. It is not your game. This is not your life game. Your life game you have abandoned. Get on your bandwagon, on your own personal bandwagon, on your own family bandwagon. Play your family game. Play the games by which you have been brought to this planet. Let it be the only game that you play. Everyone has his game. Let them play their own game. I know some of you will not understand this until the next 20 years from now. But just remember that today we are talking about that. And remember that we actually also making a call out to each and every one of you. Because as important as it is, we also understand that together we can shave off the lost time. Individually, it will take more years to get back where we need to be. But as a collective, I submit to you, we can get it all done in the shortest amount of time in the history of us as humankind, or as mankind. But you got to get out of those games. You've got to stop playing for that to work. So guys, this is all I got. I am actually now stopping for real. And I'm only asking again that, please, if you feel like this is something that is boiling inside of you, if this conversation touches you somewhere deeply, I want to ask that you make sure that you reach out to us. We really want to reconnect with sons and daughters of Africa, with kings and queens of Africa, even descendants. The DNA is in you. You cannot get rid of it. It is in you. And so are the solutions. So we want to link up first. And we want to get together. And we want to do the work together. Remember, as an individual, I'm in a position of making, doing a little bit of, which is okay. It may take me so many years to get it done. Collectively, what would have normally taken years and years and years can be weeks, can be days, can be hours. But we need to get together first. And we need to actually reacquaint with ourselves, reintroduced with you, know who you are first and foremost. You are not just a useless person. You are not just a refugee who hasn't had something to wear, something to eat, who hasn't been regarded as a human being in so many years. You are a king and a queen who's just in that predicament. That's who you are. That is truly who you are. You are a king and a queen. You have the dominion mandate inside of you, in your DNA. You have a responsibility to govern, to manage, to control, to protect the resources on planet Earth, and to protect your own people. That is in your blood. You cannot edit it outside of your blood. You cannot edit it out. You can choose to ignore it. You can absolutely run away from it. It does not change that you are it. Once a lion, always a lion. Once royalty, always loyalty. A royal person, it's always gonna be there. Always. So get to know who you are as a people. It's imperative that you embrace who you are as a people. It's important that you embrace who you are. It's important that you end the stigma amongst you and you stop being a channel of a stigmatization of your own people. You stigmatize your people, you reap the consequences of that stigma. No exceptions. So all of us, we have a role to play, and the quicker we realize that we must act, and you have to act now, the better. We have plenty of opportunity to solve so many problems. We have plenty of opportunity to turn around our lives. Do you have the will to do that? You may be overwhelmed, but I want to tell you, you can start here, as small as you could be, as clueless as you could be. If you have the will to start, we can do it, and we are going to do it. And with that in mind, guys, I am so truly grateful that you guys have taken a part in our conversation today. Again, these are no laughing matters. We are serious. There's a story of David, a little shepherd boy who fought Goliath, a skilled soldier with a sling shot. Everybody never regarded him as a serious kid, as a serious opponent. However, his destiny was that he was a king. He's always been a king who happened to have been shepherding cows and all of that. So today, who you are will never change. Take charge of your life. Take charge of your responsibilities. Take charge of your own people. And I submit to you, everything else is going to fall in the way it needs to fall in. So with that in mind, guys, I am so grateful that we've shared a word with you. Be well and be peaceful, and let's meet again on Mondays. I'm Freeman Singirankabo here on Afri Dominion page or Afri Dominion shows. We are super grateful, guys. We are super grateful that you're here. And until we see you next time, I'll see you tomorrow. And be sure to share this program. Be sure to leave us some comment. Visit our website and come and let's do it together as one people. Until next time, so long, guys.